My husband has an uncontrollable urge, and it bothered everyone around us. I knew being neurodivergent was tough, but I didn't expect it to be this terrible. Basically, my husband is clinically diagnosed to have ADHD with symptoms of depression, but he never really showed it because fit in well with the crowd. However, there was once a time when things seriously got out of hand. My husband and I decided to watch Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince in the theaters because I really loved the franchise. We bought a large bucket of popcorn before heading to our seats. The theater was jam-packed with people, which made me even more excited to watch the film. However, I was worried about one thing. My husband physically could not sit through a movie without fidgeting or talking, so in order to prevent disturbing other people, I brought him a dice that he can roll around in his pocket since fidget spinners weren't exactly invented yet. At the start of the movie, he was doing really well and could actually focus on the things that were happening, but as the movie kept going, it looked like his attention span was hanging on the edge of a cliff. I whispered in his ear that I was proud of him so far, just to keep him motivated. He smiled and thanked me, but in the next moment he ended up dropping the dice, which rolled down under another row. I asked him if he wanted to leave, knowing full well that he was now going to struggle sitting through the rest of the movie. He shook his head, clearly just trying to stay for me. I gave him a couple of minutes to try focusing on the movie without having something to fidget, but instead of fidgeting, he started commentating on it out loud and asking me dozens of questions for each scene. Eventually, the people around him shushed at him and made him go quiet. When he couldn't take it anymore, he pulled out his phone and started texting and playing games with the sound on. Unfortunately, the screen was incredibly bright in the darkened room, and so the people around us got annoyed. The man sitting directly behind us tapped on my husband's shoulder, telling him to put his phone away. When my husband refused, the man started kicking the back of our seat, trying to annoy my husband as payback. After a couple more kicks, my husband stood up, leaned over, and punched the guy's face. The guy was shocked, but got up, leaned over, and punched my husband back with more force. People around us started screaming and trying to move out of the way while the two men held each other and exchanged punches and curse words. It was the first time I had ever witnessed a fight, and I had no idea that you can actually hear the impact of punches landing. Then, a few people who had been fed up with my husband joined in, and started to help beat him up and kick him around until he was lying down on the floor. The fight stopped once he was down, and everyone returned to their seats to finish watching the movie. I helped my husband up and dragged him out of the theater room. I was pretty shaken up, but the moment we were under good lighting, I stopped to check on my husband's bruises and checked for any major injuries. He balled his hands up into fists, still feeling very agitated by the entire event. A few of the staff showed up and asked what happened, and we tried to ignore them, but their pushy behavior made my husband erratic again. He threw punches at the staff while they yelled for him to calm down. I apologized profusely, and I dragged him out of the theater before they called the cops. Later that night, we talked about his suddenly aggressive behavior, and he explained that he knew better than to fight, but his emotions seriously got the better of him. I told him that we should see a therapist to find out if we could do anything about his uncontrollable behavior, and he suddenly got angry, raising his voice at me to say, "Another diagnosis? I'm tired of having problems and being the problem. I'm so tired of this life." He lifted up his arm above my head like he was about to hit me. My body started shaking involuntarily, and I closed my eyes and covered my face with my arms. He stopped moving when he saw my reaction and apologized. He got quiet and went straight to sleep. I stayed up much longer, too worried to be able to sleep. The following day, I decided to contact his therapist during my break at work to discuss the recent events. She told me not to keep him out of my sight, because his sudden mood swing and reactions meant that he was a danger to others and to himself. But when I got home, it was too late. I found him lifeless in our garage. His body was slumped down in a chair with a gun by his side. He left a note, apologizing for being problematic. I called the police and sat on the floor of the garage, unable to cry. All I wanted to do was be able to watch Harry Potter with him.